Miami is the most complete team in college football right now. And we might very well change our opinion on this based on what we see from Penn State, what we see from Oregon. Big opportunities coming for those two teams. Ohio State goes to Washington this week. We're going to find out all we need to know about Bama and Georgia this week. So yes, there's a lot to find out as we move forward here, and some of these matchups start to tell us who's real and who's not. But so far through the first 4 weeks of the season, Miami, to me, stands alone at the top. They are now 4-0 for the third consecutive season. They just beat their rival Florida Gators 26-7. And it's the first time that Miami has started 4-0 in 3 straight years since 2001 to 2004. That should tell you that 0-1 team, by the way, for Miami, not bad. Pretty good football team that year. Maybe the most talented roster we've ever seen assembled. You look at their rushing attack. Like, so much has been made about Carson Beck and what he now means to that team, stabilizing that position. Cam Ward was incredible last year. He got all the attention, rightfully so. He became the number 1 overall pick in the draft. But what makes this team so difficult to defend is how physical they are running the football. I mean, Mark Fletcher goes out, has nearly 120 yards and a rushing touchdown. He has back-to-back 100-yard rushing games for the first time in his career. Marty Brown adds a couple of rushing touchdowns. The defense in this game was off the charts. So we already know that if push comes to shove and Miami needs to beat you through the air, I might be in the minority here. I feel very confident in Carson Beck being able to deliver on a stage like that if it's needed. What I was not sure about, especially against a Florida team that is pretty salty on defense, say what you want about Florida and their challenges offensively, that Florida defense is the real deal. To be able to have guys that can just pound away, and as the game goes along, they get better. And when I watch Mark Fletcher in the fourth quarter is a lot better than Mark Fletcher in the first quarter. He's still really good in the first quarter, but he's a guy that's a workhorse. He just gets better and better and better as the game goes along because nobody wants to tackle a 230-pound guy in the fourth quarter when they're tired. This is a team that will grind you down and will wear you out. But the defensive improvement from Miami has been the most drastic change so far. We know what they were last year. They struggled, especially down the stretch. They gave up a ton of explosive plays. They weren't good from a tackling standpoint. They were missing some pivotal guys up front defensively, and their pass rush kind of regressed as the season went along. They all of a sudden had to start blitzing, and it led to some vulnerabilities in the back end. They don't have to do that anymore. They can take over the game with their front four. They just held Florida to 141 total yards. That's their fewest in a game since 1999. Think about that. 1999. I was 11 years old the last time Florida was held to a yardage output offensively that's that low. This is the first time we've seen Florida fail to reach 10 points since 2002. They have scored 10 or fewer points in consecutive games for the first time since 1989. So to think about, yes, we're all acknowledging that Florida has some challenges. They went 0 for 13 on third down. That was the most third down attempts without a conversion since 1998. That was a historically great defensive performance from Miami. It really was. And while DJ Lagway, not great. You look at the completions, so many of those completions were actually behind the line of scrimmage. And now Miami, they can kind of take a deep breath and they can focus their attention to Florida State because they're going to take some time off. I think when you look at this Miami team, they are complete, they are physical, and they're a team that absolutely nobody wants to play right now.